Hello everyone, Reggie Time here with James again, looking at some more hands. Please hit likes and shares and all that nonsense, and hopefully you get something from it. James has got another, not sure how many hands, we've only got around half an hour, so we're not sure how many we'll squeeze in, but we're squeezing what we can until the wife gets home from work, and then we'll have to call it a day. So take it away, James.
Cool. So been shot taking just recently, so there are going to be a couple from 10NL. So open here.
So what's the reason behind the shot take? Have you been having some decent success, or you just decided, you know what, we're going to have a go at running it up?
Bit of both really. I've been having quite a bit of success at 5NL recently. I've played 10NL before and then had to jump down. Just through money, I had to take some money out, that's all. So just kind of shot taking at the moment, trying to work our way back up.
Good stuff. And this is still party poker, is it?
There's some party poker and some poker stars still.
Okie dokie. Not that it makes much difference, but they're all speed poker.
Yeah, these are all Zoom.
No worries. Okay.
So straightforward category 2, I'm just looking to check back. And then same again here.
I wouldn't mind a bet there.
On the turn.
Yeah, for some value. If he is checking back some stronger hands, then you know we got plenty of outs to suck out. Value. He can definitely call with worse after we delay C. But I think then if we're talking categories, I think floppy and right is absolute slam dunk, super trivial category 2.
Yeah.
I think on the turn, I think we can promote it to category 1 anyway, and then just having the flush card as well.
Yeah,
means we can like call and raise.
A draw, it bumps its way back up to like the bottom of category 1.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, if we bet and get raised on the turn, it's not a spade. We can't call. We just have to like fold. So I think it would still be category 2 without a spade. Maybe just about bet for value. But there's nothing can go wrong here. If we bet and we get raised, we can just call and see a river. Yeah, I don't mind check calling either. But I think I might have led out specifically on a spade.
Cool. It's just something I'm getting my head around. Like, so I just started recently going into that Doug Paul category things.
Yeah, and it's like within each category, hands can sometimes fall between two cards. They can be like very low category 1, very high category 2, and that one you could make an argument. It's not category 3 because we're not going to bluff anybody off anything. No one's going to fold a better hand. But I think you could make an argument for either way, and I'm fine with either. Yeah. In position, I think it's definitely a bet. Out of position, I can get behind checking. But I think by taking my line, it gives us a chance to now make sure we can value bet this river rather than checking and like hoping our opponent bluffs. If we'd have led the turn, we could now bet this river too and confidently like get called by King 10. Who knows what else? You know, some worse 2 pairs. Not sure what there could be, but he might have like an 8 that's some, or like an 8-6 or a Jack 8, Queen 8 maybe. Who knows? But now we're going to have to check the river probably and hope our opponent's bluffing when he bets, rather than just if we'd have led the turn, we could then lead the river confidently for value.
Yeah. And then he goes ahead and pots it. Basically.
Yeah, we have to. We're not going to have. I can't think of any better hands we're going to have here that. Maybe like ace 10 or something like that. You know, maybe we have the occasional straight. Like what other 10 could we have? 10-9. Maybe.
That would be folding category 3 though, wouldn't it? So
yeah, we'd probably bet the turn with 10-9. Yes, this is like very high up in our range, and we just can't fold it, and we just need to call and hope he's bluffing. But I would rather have gone bet turn, bet river, and if we could maybe think about bet folding this river and having a lot more confidence in how we played the hand, rather than now we're just kind of like check guessing a little bit. But it's just too strong to fold. We have to call. If he's got us beat, then good for him.
Cool. He was just more of a sandwich, more of a line check for me, just
just for the people who like to see results. I don't really care about results because I think it's just a matter about how we played the hand. But yeah, he did have the straight, did he? Because people only bug you for results in the chat in YouTube. So he did have the straight. Yeah, unfortunate. I'd have lost maybe. I think I'd have lost a bit less with my line because I would have bet the turn, he would have called, and I wouldn't have bet full pot on the river.
Yeah, you'd bet
and I probably would have got away. Yeah, on the river I might have just bet like 90, and then when he raised, probably just folded. So I think I would have ensured that I'd have won more than you against the range that we're beating, and lost less than you against this by like leading turn, leading river. But that's again that might be playing results, but that's how I tend to play. When people like check back, I'm very aggressive on turns, out of position, with a big part of my range, so that would definitely fall right into it. So yeah, I would have Usually, when we talk about these hands, I would have lost more than you, but this one, I think I would have made more when we had the best, and I think I would have lost less when in this exact spot. But never mind. I think you've done nothing wrong. You played it within like the realms of like how the Portal Up engine would suggest you could play. I just think on the turn, you've got a hand that you could put in either category 1 or 2. Once you chose to put it in category 2, you played the hand in a completely standard manner. But I would have put it in category 1 on the turn and river. So I would have played it differently that way. But there's nothing wrong with what you've done. I just would have done something different.
On the river, the way I played it, would there been any merit in donking out, trying to get called by a king?
In a vacuum, yes, there would be. But how are you going to balance that if we're working towards having a somewhat balanced strategy? How would you then balance that? I think it's just really hard to like balance donking range, especially on rivers as well. When we've like took a weird line like check called donk. I'm not sure. I mean, if you were prepared to balance that by bluffing when you missed your spades or by just turning some other hands into bluffs, then maybe. But no, I wouldn't like that very much. I don't think, because it's just going to be really hard to do it with any bluffs. So it's going to be quite easy to get.
Lots of flushes, aren't you?
Yeah, it's going to make you quite exploitable quite quickly, I would imagine, versus anyone who's like calling you and taking notes.
Cool. Someone's back down at 5-0. So I choose to make this hand into a bluff.
Yep, no issue with that. You get called. And we are in, again, using the post-flop game plan. I think we can either treat this as a semi-bluff and c-bet, or we can treat it as well, I think we have to semi-bluff with it no matter what. I think, but do we go with a check raise or do we just lead out? We can maybe think about, if we check, we can go 2 different ways. If he bets big, we can just say fuck you and jam and like hopefully he's committed some money that he's folding. If he bets small, we can maybe just take our pot odds and call. I think I prefer betting here in general though, because we're going to get a lot of folds from pocket pairs, from just like stuff that's whiffed that we wouldn't mind folding. If he's like peeling us with stuff like 8-9 here, he's got a good shot. We don't mind just having him fold anything that, we're going to be ahead when he folds. Most of the time he's going to be folding like hands that don't have much equity, but nevertheless we're still prevented from realising it. So I think, given there's 3 high cards there, given we pre-flop 3 better, I quite often like to check me up flush draws, but I think this is an occasion where I would actually bet with it. But I wouldn't hate a check raise either.
What sort of side would you be looking to make it then for a bet? If you're just looking to fold out mainly just pocket pairs?
Well, I'd be betting, what would I bet with, say, pocket kings here? What would I bet with pocket queens? And that size would probably be around 55 to 65, depending on what I thought about my opponent. So yeah, anything between like 40 to 55% pot, I think is completely fine, because I wouldn't be going any bigger than that with my value hands. So I don't really want to have 2 separate sizes from a bluff. So well, not that I don't want to at all have separate sizes for bluffs and value bets. So anywhere between 40 and 55% of pot, depending on what I've been doing that session, I'd try and like be consistent with that.
Cool. I decided to bet basically full pot because that's what I bet if I had a set.
Well, that's fine. If it's what you would bet with your sets, then yeah, you have to bet the same with your draws and things.
And he goes in and calls.
Which is the worst scenario, because he calls, we break, then we're in a tough spot on the turn.
Yeah.
You'd rather he just raise there so you could say, fuck you, I'm all in. That's not a tough spot, though.
No. What do you do at this point? Because obviously, if you've got most of your value,
it would depend how I played the flop. If I played like you did and I led out, I would just continue betting. There's a good chance we can get it all in and be free rolling like the fuck out of him here, which is really nice. And we might also get it in against 2 pairs that we're crushing. I wouldn't slow down here at all. I'd probably bet what's in his 2. I'd probably bet about a third of his stack, maybe just under anything 220 to 250. Hope he just jams with his ace, and we're obviously free rolling. If he has an ace here, then we've got we've got a 20% free roll, something like that, which is really nice. And he puts him in a tough spot with any sets. He might have 2 pairs if he's got a 9. So yeah, I'd bet. I wouldn't take my foot off the gas here. I would continue betting. I get what you're saying. If we had a set of kings or something, we might want to check. But we've 3-bet. We've made a really big c-bet, and he's stayed interested. And he can have a lot of ace-x in his range too on that board. Ace-10, ace-queen, ace-king, maybe not as much in his range. But I would just continue betting here and just hope he's got the ace. Well, hope he calls with something that's not an ace, but If he does just jam with the ace, then get the money in and take our free roll.
Yeah. I take a bit of a weird line.
Yeah, well, again, if you think he's got an ace 2, it's a great line, because again, you're guaranteeing yourself a 20% free roll. I think the problem is here, you give him a chance to get away from anything that isn't a straight. I think he just folds, because we have so much ace X in our range.
Yeah, that's what I thought about on review. I kind of just pigeonholed him into just having ace X. If he's got a set or anything, I'm basically giving an easy way to get out of it, really.
Yeah, I think it's not that hard for him to have an ace here 2. I'd like this bet better, actually, if that was like a brick. So I put maximum pressure on his, like, whatever his, like, one pair type hands and his... If he's in there with the hand, like, I don't know, ace 10, ace queen, something like that, he puts maximum pressure on those types of hands. So I'd like it better as a bluff than do as a value bet. But, I mean, how can I hate it? Because there's a good chance he's going to call with an ace and we're going to free roll him for 20%. But I'd rather just see you make a more normal size. Give him a chance to shove over the top or whatever. Give him a chance to think you might be weak. All those things. I mean, I don't hate it, but I think I'd prefer a smaller sizing. Because, again, I mean, would you have done this? If this was a 2 of diamonds, would you have done this?
No, I probably wouldn't have made it this size.
No, and that's where, if you're not going to be like having a consistent approach, you will be prone to being exploitable by players that are paying attention. Now, how many of those guys are out there? Who knows? Because tons of players find their way to me who've never taken a note in their lives. So I'm guessing there's hundreds of players out there that never take notes. So it might not be that bad, but a hand like this, if you get called, it's the sort of thing people will think, even the ones that don't take notes very often might take a note on something like this, because it's quite memorable, it's quite noteworthy. So I wouldn't do it, but I don't hate it, of course.
Yeah. And he calls off with ace king.
Yeah, so we did get the free roll in. Unfortunately, we just didn't get there. So did you take a note that he didn't 4-bet you pre-flop there?
I think I've been taking notes on the actual software, so he doesn't show up.
Right, okay. Because that's like quite an interesting note that he doesn't like. I know to be fair, we're starting off significantly deeper, but I still think it's surprising he didn't go for the 4-bet pre-flop. But never mind. It's just, I think it's interesting and noteworthy that he didn't.
Yeah. Calls. Revalue bet.
I think I would have gone a bit bigger. When I'm c-betting multi-way, I don't tend to c-bet bluff very often multi-way, and I don't think many other guys do too. So when I'm in a multi-way pot and I'm betting, it's usually because I've got a strong made hand or a very strong draw, and very few. For example, I wouldn't be betting pocket 8s here, for example. So my range is going to be like pretty strong, especially on this board where there aren't any draws. I wouldn't mind going a little bit bigger. But again, at the same time, I don't hate it. It's half pot. It's fine. It gives us tons of options on the turn. But my personal choice would have been to go up in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's just a style thing, maybe. So this turn's dicey, because if we get raised, we probably have to fold. This is a problem being out of position with these hands. You love it. You think, oh, great, kings have been called. All of a sudden, now there's like some draws have got there, some more draws develop, some 2 pairs have got there. That's a terrible card for us, really. We kind of need to keep on betting to get value and protect our hand, but we don't want that much action, because if we get raised, we're going to have to fold, I think. So that's a much better card for him. I think at this point he almost has a range advantage, I would say, on that particular turn card, and I wouldn't have blamed you for putting pocket kings into like a strong category 2 and just saying, you know what, let's just take a street off. Because if we get raised here, we hate life. If we get called, there's going to be a fucking shit ton of rivers that we're not going to be a value bet. So I personally might sometimes go into pot control mode here and just check this turn. But I mean, betting's obviously completely fine too. Calls. And that's a pretty decent river in terms of, like, if he did pick up a draw on the turn, he's not got there.
We now beat all the 2 pairs in
we beat some 4-6s and, well, very unlikely 10-6. No, there's not many. But we still get value from Jack, Ace 10, Queen. We have to bet. I'd bet small. I'd block it like maybe 60, 75. Yeah, no issue with that. And fold to a raise. That would be my line. Yeah, we just have to fold now. And no issue with that. I think I might have check called the turn and then probably check called the river, but I think that as you played it, I think you played it completely fine too.
Cool.
And I like your sizing on the river. It gives you a chance to get some thin value, but also not commit yourself to the hand. I like it.
You go. Make top bet. No point raising, just keep
Nope,
calling.
I like it. Still check calling.
Yeah, he checks back.
I'm going to probably lead this river again. Small for value. Get value from pocket 7s. Get value from pocket 9s. I just don't think he's going to bet very often as a bluff. So I don't want to check call. And my hand's too strong to check fold, really, given the pot size. So I think I'd rather just take the lead here and bet and just... Maybe he calls with Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10. There's lots of worse hands can call. If we get raised, we can just fold. I'd bet like 35 here and fold to a raise, I think.
Yeah. I think that's what the question is on this.
Because we kind of have to call this now, but I think people's lines for going bet, check, bet are quite often strong, especially when the board changes like this. I mean, I think he's going to have a pretty strong hand here. I'd rather, if I'm going to put money in here, I'd rather bet 35 than check call a larger bet. I mean, maybe we sometimes catch a bluff, but like, what? But unless he's like c-bet ace queen, give up, then decide to just go again all of a sudden, I can't think of many hands he can have that takes this line that would ahead of. So I would probably just, well, as played, we have to call, but I would have led the river once he checks back the turn, and I'd be leading the river with like quite a few bluffs too on this card with the club, just to try and get him off stuff like ace queen, ace king and what have you. So if he does fold too much, I don't care, because I'm going to have plenty of like weaker hands in my range, because once people check back flops or turns, I tend to try and get after it anyway. So I'm going to have plenty of, like, my range is plenty wide enough where I can just bet 35 cents here and not worry about getting exploited versus raises, because I'm going to have some stuff that can call, i.e. flushes. I'm going to have some 8x that can call, and I'm going to have some stuff that doesn't mind just folding, because it's just going to be like garbage. It's attacking his turn check back. So I think I'd rather bet. My overall strategy wants me to bet here. As you played it, I think you need to call, but I don't think I like it too much.
Yeah.
Strange he didn't continue barreling the turn. Man, you guess if he thinks he's got showdown value and a draw, maybe he doesn't need to. I don't hate his play, to be honest with you. I really don't. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't barrel the turn, because I expect tons of people to like massively overplay flush draws there. I actually, with the hand he's got, I like his line a lot, because it gives himself a chance to realise all his equity.
Yeah. And lets other flush draws bet into him, and then he raise, and then...
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to be able to turn up with a flush in spots like this, because people aren't going to put you on a flush very often because you didn't barrel the turn. So, yeah, I think I like his line. I don't hate your line. I don't hate your line till the river when I think we could bet, and I don't even hate it by not betting. It's just I personally would have bet, because I'm going to bet a lot of those rivers with that jack. Imagine we got a hand like jack 9, that's going to want to bet for sure. Jack queen's going to want to bet. We're going to have tons of hands that want to bet, so I think we can bet our 10x for value very comfortably. It's probably going to be one of our strongest value hands. 10x, 8x are going to make up the most of our value range here, so pocket 3s maybe. So yeah, 10x is at the bottom of river value betting range.
Yeah. Would you bet with all your 10x at that point, into your like 10-9s?
Yeah, probably. Just to get calls from like pocket 7, because people will bet pocket 7s a lot on that flop and pocket 6s just to protect against overcards. And if they're just, I don't think they're going to fold pocket 7s if we bet 35 on that river. I think they're going to think, oh god, I'm beat, but call anyway, because they've kept the pot small and whatever. I just have showdown value. So I think we can definitely get called by enough worse hands to value bet a 10 there.
Cool. You call by small blind. Right, too bad.
I like the sizing. Definitely get called by tons of worse hands.
Yeah.
I think I'm still betting here with a view to checking back most rivers, I think. Because we can get value here from draws still and things like that. And we can just, like, by betting here, we quite often give ourselves a cheap showdown. So I'm happy to bet here for value from just Jack X on its own, 10x clubs. Some of his straight draws have got there, but stuff like 8-9 hasn't got there yet, and what have you. So bet again, fold to a raise, I think, and check back river will be my general plan here. Unless we improve to a full house, then obviously we're going to value bet the river.
Yeah.
Oh, ew. See, always having the 10 of clubs isn't super useful here. We'd rather not have a club to call this bet. I think, and I might get panned for being a nit, but I think we can make a strong case of folding here. King Queen is one of the big draws has got there. Clubs have missed, but we block a club, not massively, but we do block them a little bit. He can just have better 2 pairs. I doubt he does it this way, but fuck knows, who knows. He's took a weird line. If I had ace 10 or ace jack, I wouldn't fold for sure. If I had 2 pair with the ace, but I think 2 pair with the 10 and the jack, I can be convinced that folding's the best play here. Just because I hate paying off, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got straights in our range.
We got lots of things
flushes,
we can call down there, yeah. Definitely, we've got like backdoor hearts can call down. Jack 10, it's kind of one of the strongest hands I'm going to fold, but I just hate paying off in these games, especially with these weird lines. They just tend to have weird stuff that beats us too often. But what I say, if I had ace 10, ace jack, I would be folding them. I think the worst hand I'm calling was probably something like, because I wouldn't have ace 5 because I wouldn't bet it on the flop.
Yeah.
I could maybe have ace 3. We've got like, I don't know, ace 3 of what, who knows, just some random bluffs, but yeah, excuse me. Yeah, ace 10's probably going to be, ace jack's going to be like the top, like the bottom of my calling range here. Anything worse than that, I'm probably going to be comfortable folding, because we're going to have flushes and straights, like you say, and sets. So I think folding jack 10's we're not going to be getting exploited by folding that far down our range. So yeah, I have no issue with folding the jack 10 there. I think I would have too. I'm annoyed by it. It annoys me and it cheese me off. But at the same time, I think it's a good solid fold.
Guy limps.
Yep. I don't hate the limp behind. A lot of people might. I don't hate it. I think it's fine. Last thing you want to do is isolate and then get limp re-raised or 3-bet, and you know, we're happy to just try and see a flopping position, flop a set, do a bit of nut peddling. Why not?
Yeah. Flop a set.
I knew you were going to flop a set. I kind of knew you would.
Yeah, if it went odd hand,
It'd have been the oddest hand to not flop a set. We just need to raise here, don't we?
Yeah. So we raise. He calls.
Raise again.
Yep.
I like the sizing too, nice and big. Tons of draws, tons of worse value hands can call. Sorry, not worse value hands, worse made hands can call.
Yeah. And that.
Oh, fuck's sake. He's played this exactly like fish play draws, you know, bet call. Man. Stop bringing tough fucking hands. Stop it. Oh, Christ. So what do we beat that does this? Even fucking 4-5's got there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to fold it. I'm going to knit 10. It up and fold it again. Queen 10, yeah, maybe, but why doesn't Queen 10, like, if he wants to play aggressively, why doesn't Queen 10 min bet 3-bet the turn?
Yeah.
Why has Queen 10 waited till, like, a dreadful cards come off to do it? I'm just going to knit it up and fold. I wanted to make a case for calling and go through all our other hands we can have here. I'm going to make a very exploitable fold here, assuming that some fishy player who takes this line isn't going to be bluffing anywhere near enough here to make it worthwhile. I think they're going to be very, very flush heavy here. Even though we've got the 3 of clubs, I think because it's a low club, it doesn't block anywhere near as many of his, like, the flushes he can have. Yeah, I'm just going to make a very, very exploitable fold. And if he's bluffing me, then good for him. I'm just going to not bother too much.
Yeah, I took the same line. I think I've got queens and sixes. That's probably just about enough. It's called 3 times the size.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a flush so often. I mean, it's harder to fold queens there than it is 3s. But it's, if we think he's either got a flush or nothing, there's no difference between queens and 3s, really. Yeah, it stinks, but I'd just fold and whatever. This is annoying me more than the last one. I'd be really annoyed to fold here, but it's just everything gets there on the river. Like I say, even the straights get there. So yeah, I'd just fold and get pissed off and move. Yeah, get fold. Really annoyed. Probably bang something and either break it or hurt it. Maybe shout at the cat or wait for the wife to say something annoying so I could snap at her. But I wouldn't fold. I'd somehow get my frustration out without. Sorry, I wouldn't call. Sorry, I'd get my frustration out in a way that didn't involve hitting the call button. I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys just get frustrated and call here, and they just lose way too often.
Open 8. Just go straight into a category 2.
Category 2 could be category 1 at the
It's
bottom
quite
end of it.
board,
Yeah, it's like one of the best. It's probably at the out and out best category 2 hand we're checking.
Yeah.
So it's right at the top of category 2, somewhere in the bottom parts of category 1. Depends on my opponent. You don't know anything about him, so I don't hate checking back. I wouldn't hate betting. I think I would probably, lean towards betting just for a little bit of value and just to deny equity to 2 high cards. So I think I'd maybe bet 15 and not really care what he did. We just need to call now.
Yeah.
slam dunk category 2 when he bets.
And he pots it on the river.
I think I'm liking calling here. We block 8-7, which is fucking mega useful.
Yeah.
Is that if he's value betting, it's like he has to be like a set or something like that. The king doesn't really change anything. It's like, remember an old video Phil Galfo made years ago, like when's a scare card, not a scare card. And in my opinion, the king is not a scare card here, unless he has something like King 9 or whatever. But we were beat from jump by King 9 anyway. So it's like, it's a scary looking card that shouldn't actually scare us. I think if we're beat here, we're going to be beat from the turn onwards, and I don't think the river's going to have us beat too often. So I would like pretty much ignore the river and just think, like, do we still beat enough of like what bet the turn? And because we block 8-7 so hard, and because quite a few draws developed on the turn, like you can have like a lot of like 7x that's like, or you can just even have a hand like pocket 7s that's turned into a bluff. I've done 2 nitty folds in a row. I'm not going to nitty fold this one. I think this is one I'm going to call. Not love it, but at the end of the day, it's like this is again still one of the better hands we can have in this spot, given that I'm not scared of the king. So yeah, I'm gonna, because I don't think he's better than just a lone 9 here. But if he is, fucking more power to him. I think he's gonna be quite polarized here to have quite a few bluffs in his range, and not that the value hands are gonna have are gonna be like super strong ones, like flop sets that are just like try to catch up with value and stuff. So I don't love it because I hate paying off, but I think I might call this one.
Yeah, how we gonna fight it? So we block 8-7. We don't block any of the flush cards. That's missed. And it was literally the top of my...
Yeah, it seems like a good spot to call, I think.
Yeah.
And we don't care about the result. Well, I like to see the result. It's unfortunate he's had queen king. You're bloody unlucky there, because the king shouldn't change that much, really. You're unlucky that he's kind of just picked up on your flop weakness and like bet. I mean, I think his line's really good by bombing that river. I think you played the hand fine too. It's one of those things. He's just got there in a way that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Never mind, really. I think that's by betting the flop that we do protect against that happening somewhat. You know, I mean, yeah, as it turns out, we might have induced 2 streets of bluffs from him had he not hit. But nevertheless, I think sometimes just like having betting these flops half pot and just denying equity or charging for these types of hands to stay in the pot, I think it's a good thing. I understand like we stick rigidly to our categories, but sometimes I think we can make a case as we grow into more thinking players and like players that don't want to be stuck to I think the categories in the post-rock game are fucking brilliant to help players understand when they should be betting, when they should be checking. But I don't think we should stick to it like glue. I think there's cases sometimes when we can just bet to deny equity. Just like say, I think we had the best hand. If our opponent's playing passively with 2 overcards, we don't want to just let him get there. So I think it makes a good. This is a good example of when we can maybe think about betting the flop for thin value, because we can certainly get value on the flop too. Yeah. We can get value from worse hands for sure, and we protect our hands. So I think, as like a value and protection bet, I think the like half pot flat bet would be in order, and it may or may not protect against this because he might just float king queen on this flop anyway. But then we maybe barrel the turn and he folds it. Then who knows? I think that what's made this hand go wrong is not betting the flop. Now, I'm not saying we should always bet like middle pairs on flops when players check to us, but on 9 high boards, I think betting like pocket 7s, pocket 8s is completely fine here, because most guys are just going to check fold, and we just get to like pick up the pot with no extra hassle, and we just deny equity to people, which is nice.
Honestly, the one thing I've, since watching going through the double post slot thing, my C bet is literally around 35-40%.
Yeah, I had this
7%
problem at first.
It was.
Yeah, and I actually messaged him on, I think he was doing like a Facebook live chat, and I messaged him saying, look, since I've started following your post-up engine, my C-bot's dropped to 35%, and he said, well, it will, because you're not going to be C-betting anywhere near as aggressively, but when you do, you're going to be playing hands where it can like bet multiple streets, both for value and with your bluffs. So it kind of made sense. And then he also went on to say that you know, it might just be that you're not like categorizing hands not right. You might just be I think I was putting too many like thin category 1 hands into category 2 and checking them, and I was thinking putting too many like of me worst category 3 hands into category 4. So what I started doing was promoting a few more hands into category 1 when I was in position, promoting a few more category category 4 hands, like just over cards and things, into category 3 when I was in position 2, and that kind of got me going back up towards the 50% c-bet range. Then as I was doing more out of position, I was still like being really quite tight and sticking to the plan. In position, I was promoting some of the weaker parts of my range to like some of my checking range I was promoting to a betting range, either as thin value or as like one of my worst bluffs, one of my weaker bluffs kind of things, and that way you just kind of get it back up again a little bit. So for example, promoting pocket eights to a bottom of category 1 here, and promoting a hand like say we had a hand like Jack 10 with a club, Jack 10 of clubs or something, promoting that to a category 3 semi bluff, even though we only really have 2 overcards and backdoors. Stuff like that will help get it back up. You know, it's rather than just having it down at 35%, because I think we could definitely like c-bet Jack 10 of clubs. Well, basically any 2 overcards on this board, c-bet them once, and then just on the turn decide whether to like barrel off or not. And I think we can definitely like promote pocket eights to a 2 barrel here sometimes on this kind of run out. So we can do it, just like do it more in position. If you're going to start trying to promote some hands from categories 4 and 2 into 1 and 3, start trying to do it with in position, with like thin value, and just trying to add a few more sensible-ish bluffs into your range.
Cool. So basically your categories can float depending on whether you're in position or out.
I think so.
Position be a bit more tighter. And...
Yeah, because would be a slam dunk category 2 by the rules of it, as it's not top pair, but it has showdown value. But in position versus someone who's shown 2 lots of weakness, it could very much easily be a thin value bet. Can we bet 3 streets? Maybe not, but we could certainly bet 2 streets at least. We could certainly bet this flop and this turn, and it's just going to get your aggression up a little bit. It's going to stop you feeling too passive. And I would say start by doing it in position. Out of position, stick to it where you can, because it really helps you not like bluff too. It can't, to me, I stick to it rigidly out of position, because I think it just helps keep me in line. In position, I don't mind getting out of line slightly more, because we're up against weaker ranges then, so you can get out of line more versus weaker ranges anyway.
Cool. We just had to flat, make top pair. Cool. He checks back. And we get that for a river card.
Right. So what do we think? I think he's going to have a lot of ace-x when he checks back the turn, just pot controlling. Or he can just have a lot of stuff he's giving up with, like under pairs that he stabbed the flop with and just giving up with. I don't think we can bet for value here. I think it's just a matter of check and decide on his bet sizing. I think that's how I'll play. I think betting's way too thin. I think check, call a small bet forward to a large bet would be how I would take this. I would fold versus that sizing. It's not hard to top a jack. It's not hard to top an ace. And what natural bluffs can he have really? I can't think. He'd have to be turning like a medium pair into a bluff here. Yeah. If he stabbed the flop with pocket eights, or like you say 9-8, something like that, I would just fold here and not worry too much about it. I think we've got 2 pairs, but on this board texture 2 pairs isn't very strong at all. I would just fold. Unless I thought this guy really was capable of just saying, knowing that we don't ever have a strong hand and just like betting his entire range, then we probably have to call. But I doubt that's going on very often, so I would just check fold until I had a good read otherwise.
Yeah. Would you be calling stuff like ace queen?
Yeah, I think we have to call with an ace. I still don't love it, but I think we have to call with. Yeah, if I had, we wouldn't have ace king, but if we've had ace queen, I would be. But then again, would I lead out with it? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd probably have to check call with ace queen, because we like chop with some of his weaker. We beat some of his weaker aces, obviously, which he might be thin value betting. So yeah, ace queen, probably one of the worst hands to call with. Enjoying my wife staying out much longer than expected. We should fucking do it more often. Yeah, we bet he raises, we have to call because of his sizing. Yep. If I don't think my opponent's tricky, I like betting here. If I think he's capable of being tricky, then I don't mind just taking the street off. He looks like pretty loose aggressive over a small sample with his pre-flop stats, but then his aggression factor of 1 over a small sample makes you think maybe he's a bit fit or foldy post-flop. You get a lot of these. I've got a friend, he calls them fake lags, where pre-flop they look super laggy, but post-flop they're really quite nitty and quite like weak tight. He looks like he might fit that bill because he's like 28-20. If that's reasonable, if that's realistic for his, if that's a like proper representation of his pre-flop stats, then he might, and then his aggression factor is actually going to be around the 1 region. Then he would be a great candidate for the fake lags. In which case, I think he's just going to be check folding and playing a lot of fit of fold here. So I would probably check back would I check back everything? You probably would actually, yeah. Then think about betting a ton of turns or just like calling down 2 streets. So I think my plan here would be check back, call turns, rivers that aren't dreadful, and if he checks a turn, just bet twice, bet turn, bet river. That would be how I'd be looking at this going forward.
So I decided to send you check. Just because it's basically the one of the worst kings I'm going to have at this spot. So I put that in category 2.
That's a big bet, but we can't fold. Obviously, our hand's way under-repped, and he can have worse for sure. Don't think he has worse value at that size, but he can have tons of bluffs. He could have picked up diamonds, for example, or some kind of straight draw, who knows. That river's pretty much a brick. I'm not folding. I'm not folding here. We've got, like exactly like you said earlier, we've got one of the best hands we can have. All the draws are bricked. He didn't see bet the flop. Whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to call him. And if he's got us beat, he's got us beat. I think we need to call in this spot. We've made some nitty folds this session that I completely agree with. But I think this one, yeah, I mean, maybe he has got Trappy in the flop with like an ace king or a pocket aces, but most of the time I expect ace king and pocket aces to just see bet that flop. I think if you can have pocket queens, I guess. King queen, and maybe play it that way. But overall, I think we need to be calling there just because we're pretty under-repped. We don't look like we've got a king. He can easily be bluffing there. We beat a lot of it. We don't beat much of his value range at all, if any. But he can have plenty of bluffs. I think we just need to call there.
And I'm looking at reviews, all the draws have missed. So if he has hearts, he has to check that back, or diamonds have all bricked.
Yeah, and a lot of his like queen tens bricked, ace queens bricked. There's so many hands we can beat that he can do this way. I just think we just need to call there, I think.
Cool.
That's a loose open by your standards, is it? 7-6 middle position.
Yeah, well,
I haven't seen you do one of these.
No, it's something I'm trying to incorporate in. I've also, since this, made my opens a little bit smaller, so this might be around 13 cents just to incorporate.
I have no problem with it, by the way. I think at the right tables, I think it's fine. Yeah. I'm just not used to seeing you doing it, but good stuff. So he 3 bets. How deep are we? Oh, we're plenty deep, aren't we? Yeah, it's a slam dunk call. 100 blinds deep, I'm not convinced it's a call. I think we can just fold it and move on. But this deep, we just need to call and hope to absolutely cooler the shit out of him.
Yeah. So it's a decent flop for us. I decided to make a raise.
I was thinking, do we want to raise? That's why I was silent.
That's what I was trying to work. That's what the issue I have with this hand is: do we have a raise in range? We'd love to raise with 9s and 8s.
Yes, we would.
And Jack
but
10 suits.
If we had pocket 9s here, the first question I'd be saying to you is, what bluffs do you have?
Yeah.
But given we can have Jack 10 that wants to do this, 7-6 that wants to do this, and we can have 8-9 suited if we've got 8. Yeah, I don't hate the raise. It's a problem. It's going to piss me off if we get fucking 3-bet. But I can't see. He shouldn't have much of a 3-bet in range. If he's got pocket aces, he should just call and let us continue fucking betting ourselves. If he has ace king, he shouldn't want to get it all in because it's just one pair. So yeah, I don't hate it. You take control of the pot, gives us some turn options. I wouldn't have hated calling either. Either's fine because sometimes they're going to want to just call with my sets of 8s and 9s, especially against someone who's 32, 27, 3. If I flop a set here, I'm not going to raise versus him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably call versus this opponent and raise versus some others. But yeah, I have no issue with it because we have value hands that we want to raise. I think we might be just too bluff heavy here though. If we're raising 7-6, it means we're probably raising 10 Jack 2. Yeah. And I think we're going to have probably too many bluffs in our range, so I think I prefer calling, but we'll probably have a ton of fold equity against someone as aggressive as this, so yeah, I think we can go both ways. Depends how you want to. If you think he's full of like wind and piss here, then raising's really good because we just get to pick up the pot, and his range is probably going to be quite wide because of how loose he is pre-flop and his aggressive post-flop. So actually, yeah, I don't hate it. I actually like it. That's what I do quite often. I'll wibble my way around and I'll just say lots of things to myself, and eventually I'll get on something that makes sense.
And that's what you go with.
That's kind of what I'll go with, yeah. And that's what I'll be doing. Literally, when I'm talking, I don't talk out loud, but I'll be just thinking through things, and I'll think all kinds of gibberish, and eventually something will make sense, and I'll think, oh yeah, I can hear Doug Polk saying that, so that's what I'm going to do all of a sudden. And that's what I do. I just repeat a lot of shit I've heard from videos in my head until something resonates with me. So yeah, I actually like the race now. I've come down in favour of it.
Cool. He calls. It's not a great card for us.
No, I think I take my free card here, because when he calls, he's going to have a lot of ace-x that doesn't want to fold. I think we've earned a free card. I personally would take it, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of fold equity.
I bet. I'll be betting here with my sets. I'd prefer it to be a diamond, obviously, but
yep.
I'd be betting here with my set, so I kind of felt I was obliged to bet, and went small to set up a bigger rubbish shove.
Yep.
Either way. And he
folds. So I wonder what he's just bet called that flop with him. Maybe he's just like had a hand like ace 10, ace jack, it just hasn't wanted to fold, and then he finds the fold. It's interesting because I just don't expect, and this is maybe a leak on my part, when I raise flops as a semi bluff and I get called and I don't improve, I don't often barrel a turn, because I just don't think we get enough. When people bet call, I don't trust people to fold once they've bet called the street. I expect them to be in like full on sticky get to showdown mode, and that could well be a leak on my part. That's a spot where if I was in position and it went check, bet, but I'd bet 3 streets in a heartbeat, I wouldn't think twice about it. But once I find somebody bet calling, and this could very easily be a leak on my part, once someone bet calls me, I only really continue on turns and rivers with that the top of my value range, and that kind of like basically just shut down with the rest of it, because I just don't expect folds. Now you've got a fold there in a spot where I wouldn't even try and get one, so maybe that's made me, I need to go away and think about my strategy. Maybe I am being a bit too nitty in those spots, but I just look at that, the 4 brick, I think, is he really going to fold ace queen on the 4? And my general level of thought would be no, he's not, but maybe, well, clearly he's found something he can bet call and check fold, so maybe I'm being too nitty in that spot, because I wouldn't have bet there. So
I was going to ask is what do you put him on at this point, because all the ace-x kind of have to call on this. So what does he call a raise with, and then
Jack Queen diamonds, maybe something like that. Jack Queen clubs, someone that's got like a gut shot on some backdoor equity. Maybe he's just not been in the mood to fold pocket kings yet. That he's c-bet. Who knows? I very much doubt he's folded a big ace. I guess he can c-bet call hand like ace 10 and think, well, I'm going to continue on a jack or a 7 or something. So I think ace 10 and then like some gut shots with backdoors maybe, and then maybe some stubborn like big pairs that aren't an ace-x. I don't know. It's never something I've given a lot of thought to, because it's not a spot that I find myself in very often, because I quite often wouldn't fire the second barrel. So it's actually really interesting for me, and I'm going to look at this again later and start like going to maybe look back in my database for like spots where I have checked down and like just lost the pot and given up, just to see exactly how light people are calling these flop raises, because I might be way out of kilter with just how wide people are calling them. So if people are calling them wider than I expect, then we can make a case, a lot stronger case, for continuing to like semi-bluff. I just tend to think people are going to have pretty strong ranges they're not keen to fold once they bet call or flop, but I could be very wrong on that, especially this board texture that's pretty dry. But clearly I'm wrong, in some occasions at least, because this guy's found a fold, so who knows. But anyway, sir, I've just heard the wife's car pull up, so if you don't mind, can we save some more for the next time?
Yeah.
That's
Should
brilliant,
be around 10 left, so we're spot on.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. As usual, you've brought some really, really good hands that have made us think, which I like, because lots of people just bring hand histories to me that are just like, oh, look at me, my aces have been cracked. I'm the most unlucky man ever. You never do that. I like that. You're bringing some great hands, and thank you very much, sir.
Good.
Awesome.
Take care, Paul.
You take care, bud. Bye for now.
See you later.